This is the Bax Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Grant, it's Wednesday. It's hump day. I know you're not feeling the best, so I'll say it for you. Hump day. There you go. I know. Grant is a little under the weather today, unfortunately, but God love him. He's still here anyway because we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about that he would not want to miss. So we have an exciting show for you today. Joel Wolfrath will be here. Intern Laura is here. We're super, super stoked for it. But before we get to any of that, Grant, where can the people find us on social media?
They can find us on Facebook at the Bax Grant Sports Show. You can also head over to Twitter and find us at BG Sports Show. You can check us out on Instagram by using the hashtag the Bax Grant Sports Show. And there's one more. Oh, you can email us at gmail.com at bgsportshow@gmail.com.
Yes, indeed. And you can also listen to us live right here at 9 a.m. Central on Spreaker.com and iHeartRadio. You can also check us out from 12 to 3 Eastern on SportsRadioAmerica.com, Live 365, and tune in as well. All of those platforms have multiple apps that you can download and listen to our show. And you can also download our podcast on iTunes as well. All right, Grant. You know, as many people go through their sporting lives, obviously many people try to play the sports. Many people love attending games. But if there's one thing that people really, really, really love to do, Grant, well, I can't even say it because it's that exciting. We need to bring in Joel Wolfrath to have him tell us.
The expert.
Joel, through your expert research, welcome to the show, by the way, sir. Good morning.
Hey,
great to see you. Nice shirt, by the way.
Thank
well
you.
done. Wearing his official Bax Grant Sports Show t-shirt.
I didn't get the memo.
I know. It's all good.
Sorry.
Anyway, Joel, through your extensive research, you have found something very shocking, very earth-shattering news for the sports community. What is it?
Tailgating is fun.
Tailgating is fun? Really?
I know.
Is that allowed?
Groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking news, folks, that tailgating in sports is actually fun, but even better than tailgating, what is it? What is more fun than tailgating? What do you do while you tailgate that people think is so much fun?
Well, you drink a lot of beer.
You drink a lot of beer. That
Yes.
right there is probably the greatest phrase ever mentioned, except for Go Pack Go. Drinking a lot of beer goes hand in hand with being a sports fan. Now, some of you are probably wondering, why are they talking about alcohol? Why are they talking about tailgating? This is a sports show. Like I just said, this is a sports show, so we can talk about those things. Those two things go hand in hand. Joel was kind enough to find an article for us from the University of Minnesota. So your home state, Joel, the Gophers of the University of Minnesota have done a very extensive study that has forever changed the sports landscape. Their study found...
Wow, okay.
It's a stretch.
Their study found, and I quote, more people love to drink at sporting events. Who knew, Grant? Groundbreaking news.
Right.
Call NASA, call CNN, call everybody.
Call
I don't know. They got to
C-SPAN.
tell the
Call
aliens.
everybody.
Yeah, exactly. PBS, NPR. Tell everybody. People like to drink and back to fresh air. Anyway, so with that being said,
Boxing out at number 5.
yeah, exactly. With that being said, Joel, there's a few interesting statistics that have come up through the research. The first one that I find interesting is that in all, 48% of fans that attend sporting events drink while they're at the sporting event. Now, my response to that is probably the other 52% were too drunk to respond to that, so they're like, yeah, it's tainted. We won't go with you. Does 48% seem about right to you, Joel?
I mean, it depends on the sport. Some I think are a lot more than others, and so across all the sports, I'm sure your average is probably closer to 50%.
But then again, you got to think about it. 48%, it might seem low, but in actuality, out of the three of us here right now, that would be 2 of the 3. So
Well, that's about accurate.
And it would make sense.
Pretty accurate.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
So it's 1 of every 2 people has at least a beer in their hand. And now thinking of an entire football stadium, that's a lot of people. So to
60
me, that
to
makes
80,000 people,
And then half of them are kids.
Right.
Maybe
I don't know
half.
if that's counted in this.
Start 'em young.
Some of them are, I don't know, Mormon or something. The ones that don't drink, I don't remember the
I
ones.
think that's right.
There's a religion that doesn't drink. And then you might have just people that personally don't want to. There's a whole lot of reasons. So I'm like, I would say 48%.
48% sounds like a fair amount, unless you're in Wisconsin, obviously. When it comes to Packer fans, then you started drinking,
I feel
yesterday.
Like there should be a giant
for the Packers opener.
I feel like there should be a giant asterisk on this whole study that says does not apply to Wisconsin.
It does go back and mentions the Packers and Milwaukee Bucks actually a little bit later on in the article, but we'll get to that in a second. Some other notable stats, Joel, that you found through doing your research as well is of the 18% of fans who tailgate before games, a whopping 82% of them had 2 or more drinks, while only 8% of them did not have a drink at all, which I think is fair. You go to a game, you tailgate. Hey, who do you care? You're going to be there for the next 4 to 6 to 8 hours, depending on how early you get there. Some people are overachievers, but 2 or more drinks sound about right?
Sounds about right. And then going back to the other statistic, you've also got to be willing to pay at least like $10 to get that first beer.
And that's the thing too. Yeah, and I think when it comes to tailgating, which we'll get to in a minute, I think that people will prefer to get that super nice buzz before they get into the stadium. Stumble through the gates up to the counter, buy that sell their firstborn, and get a drink, and then drink one or two drinks while they're actually there at the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, and too because when you tailgate, I don't know, whenever I've gone to games, I tailgate there for about 2 to 3 hours before the game, some even earlier, depending what time the game is. So, yeah, if they're there for a while, they're going to have at least 2 drinks.
Yes, nope, I completely agree. And looking at this next stat, which I find very true, Grant, did you know that if you're under the age of 35, you are 9 times more likely to leave the game drunk?
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. If you drink at your pregame tailgate, that makes it 14 times more likely. If any of you have ever gone to a Brewers or a Packers game or pretty much any game in the Midwest, I feel like that's fairly true.
Yeah, it's. I remember the first Packer game I went to. We had our.
Were you drunk, Grant?
No, yeah, plastered, 13 years old.
Hey man, it's Green Bay. Some things don't surprise people anymore.
Hey, I mean it's legal in Wisconsin if your parents give you some. Anyway, totally different topic.
It fueled my addiction. Kidding.
But
I did not support.
But no,
drinking.
I was not intoxicated. But the people that we parked next to, they were like nice. We chatted with them. They shared some of our brats. We gave them like our hamburgers. Like
it
was fun.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, we had we played like the hacky
those
sack
Johnsonville
game.
brats. Yeah. Oh, are there cheddar filled? Oh my gosh, we have chorizo.
Best friends.
Exactly.
Well, and then we go to the game. We come back. And those two are absolutely plastered by the end of the game. And they were drinking while we were tailgating. So,
yeah.
It makes it, I am not surprised. And, every person I feel like I see, even after Brewers games a lot of the time, too, because I get the brunt of the drunken people's rage a lot because I always wear my Cardinals jersey no matter what most of the time, no matter who they're playing. And
you're that fan.
Yeah, I'm that guy that wears the jersey of a team that nobody's playing. Yeah, I'm that guy. Don't worry. And
people like you.
People will be screaming at me from an escalator, and I'll be a floor down, and they'll be, "Hey, you explicit." Beep, beep, beep. And I'm like, okay, hi,
Mom. I'll be up in a minute. Yeah. Kind of how it goes. But anyway, Joel, any more stats out of the ones from the study that really kind of jump out at you at all through your expert research on this world-renowned find?
Yeah, something like that. The fact that some 5,000 people typically leaving an NFL game are legally drunk.
Legally, which is good.
So
not
over
illegal.
0.08.
Over 0.08.
I'm sure some are way past 0.08.
That's that. And that's the thing. We need an asterisk, I feel like, for every single one of these. It's except for Wisconsin because... Yeah. Lambeau Field is now one of the largest stadiums with their new additions. I think they can hold 83,000, on a good day. I think it's something like that.
I don't remember.
If you imagine, yes, there's children, yes, there's players, yes, there's older people. Imagine a vast majority of those people.
And now in Lambeau Field, they're starting, I believe it's there, that they're starting to get the pre-serve beer vendors.
Yeah.
So now they don't even have a person. There's just scattered throughout. So now you don't even have to go and wait in line. You can either go wait in line at the vendor, or you can get just this personalized little beer stand.
And I think a lot of it does go back to the younger generations as well. I mean, the last stat that I want to hit on before we get to Joel's tailgating tips is that 54% of those that are tested, that are drunk are between the ages of 21 and 35. And let's face it, once you hit the upside of 40, drinking heavily does not constitute well for, health and, longevity of life, as it were. So...
doesn't do that when you're younger either.
No. By the time you get to 35, your liver,
once you hit 35, alcohol,
your liver's like, what are you and who am I? And I don't know. I've been drunk since sophomore year of college. What's going on? It's like, it makes perfect sense. But anyway, Joel, you have, since we were talking about this groundbreaking study, you have a few tips for successful tailgating. I'm assuming they kind of go through for most sports. I mean, maybe they're more baseball and football specific. Since
those are the usual sports.
Yeah, those are the big ones. I don't hear a lot of basketball tailgaters. Like, going to the Bucks game, got to get there early to tailgate. No,
NBA
downtown in Milwaukee, I wouldn't recommend it.
Maybe not.
Yeah, especially where the Bucks play.
No,
it's not
wouldn't
the best
recommend
area
it.
of town.
Anyway, Joel, the floor is yours, sir. So share some tailgating knowledge with us.
Well, I mean, people have been tailgating for a long time. It's not really a new concept, but as people have been doing it, we've been getting better and better at it. And so, actually, to start, I've kind of pose a question to you guys.
Okay.
If you guys want to tell us a little bit about your best and or worst tailgating experiences, what they involved, what kind of food especially, like what would be your favorite tailgating food and or beverage?
Well, mine's a lot shorter than Grant's because I know Grant likes to talk, but I will go first.
Rude.
Well, the base of the base of my tailgating knowledge is that I have never really gone tailgating. In all honesty, I'm one of those. I know.
So
I know.
Let's go.
He's from Florida. We can give him a pass.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
We sip Mai Tais and fan ourselves with palm leaves when we watch our games.
This is a sport show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what we do.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's not what we do in Florida. No, I mean I've been to Brewer games. I've been to Packer games. The one time that I tailgated for real, I was. Gosh, I don't even know. Maybe like 11 or 12 back in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I was with my 2 foreign exchange students from Spain. They had barely been in the country long enough. My parents were working for the Packer game. It was family fun night. No, it was a preseason game. They played the Seahawks back before they were even relevant. And my parents are like, yeah, go to we'll get you tickets, da-da-da. So we got tickets, and they're like, well, you've got an hour and a half till the game. Here's $20, go, get food. I'm like, well, what do I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It's me and 2 foreign exchange students wandering around Green Bay, right around Lambeau Field. We go to the gas station. I think we bought some sleeves of Pringles chips. We bought some soda, and I think we had a football with us. So we were sitting in the Lambeau Field parking lot, eating chips, drinking soda, and these 2 guys are like, why are we at this American football? Like, I don't know. Why were you not in the stadium? And I'm like, tailgating in America. It was weird. It worked. It was fun, but to my knowledge, that's like the biggest thing I have. But now my dad bought me a grill as a wedding present, so I've got a cool little portable grill now.
There you go.
So we will have to go tailgating.
So I'll have to go to a Packer game, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh, yes. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. And it was like, it was a joke. Come on.
It's like, you're wearing a Packers shirt. Don't even tell me that.
Of course I would love
all
to go
this
to a
time
Packers
you've been
game.
lying to me. You're actually a Cardinals fan for Arizona.
You're gonna wear your Cardinals.
You're the
Packer
new
game,
Los
aren't you?
Angeles Rams. Yeah, I could see him being like, go Cardinals. Be like, wrong sport. Get out. It's like me wearing a water polo jersey to a hockey game.
Catch my sarcasm, even though my voice isn't working today.
Anyway, so that was my brief thing. Grant, do you have something for tailgating?
Not really anything exciting, but my dad's always like a grill connoisseur, and he always does like how he knows exactly what he needs. It's like a big event to prepare the next day before to get everything you need for the tailgating.
You've got to prep.
It's we make sure we get all the chairs. It's like more extensive checklists, and we go for like vacation. We make sure we have everything ready. We got to go get the good brats. We got to get the fancy buns. We got to make sure we get all the nice chairs with the good cup holders, everything like that. Because my dad, he used to live right outside of Green Bay, like when Bart Starr played for the Packers and all that good stuff. And he knows. He's been to iconic Packer games, so my dad is
your man. Your father is the man.
Well versed
in
tailgating.
The grill master
so
in the tailgating.
Anytime I've gone tailgating, I know that I am in good hands.
Well, that is good to know. I will have to go tailgating with Mr. Coppersmith.
Yeah, we'll have to go to maybe a Brewers game.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. Now, I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing at you. I just quickly Googled history of tailgating, and I was directed, Grant, to the American Tailgate Association official website.
.org.
.org. They are an organization. They've got a logo. They've got everything. And Joel and I were like, wait, what?
It's like, the logo is really sweet because it's like a guy holding
like
a spatula. There's people cheering in the back,
Red,
waving
white,
a
and blue
flag.
for America.
Oh yeah.
My gosh.
Great.
This is America. Just
This
written
really is.
all
There's
over.
food, events, there's music, news, sports. Wow, I'm
News.
gonna have to spend some time.
This just in: the American Tailgating Association with breaking news.
New games.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. Anyway, sorry, Joel. Didn't mean to get sidetracked.
Oh,
Continue
it's
with your
great.
with your.
Oh, and then
thingy.
there's that one commercial with the little that they just came out with, the little grill that he has sitting in his car.
Oh,
'Cause,
for Allstate?
Yeah. They came out with a couple of tailgating commercials.
Yes.
Within the last, I think, year, and the newest one just came out. They're hilarious. It's
Blows,
got
yeah.
there's a little grill, and it's like, you thought that you put the fire out. Good thing you brought this industrial-sized can of lighter fluid, and then the car just explodes.
Michael Bay was brought in just for that one commercial. Anyway, Joel, what do you got for us still?
Yeah, so some of the things you guys were talking about, arrival time is obviously kind of key, planning that ahead.
What's a good arrival time to tailgate?
It depends on how much time you want to hang out and how far before the game you want to eat. So, taking those things into consideration.
So if let's say it's a 7:05 first pitch for a Brewers game, traditionally on a Saturday or on a Friday
Sure.
night or something, what would be a good time to get there?
I'd say 3 hours, probably 3 to 4 hours would be good.
Yeah, I was thinking like 4 p.m.
Yeah, got to stake out your spot and make sure you got the
Then you
grill
can-
rolling.
Exactly,
You can
get
eat
everything
supper
together.
there.
You're not rushed. You can throw a ball around and just kind of relax. Slow cook those bad boys and moving up.
Throw obscenities at people wearing opposing
right.
jerseys.
Yeah, Cubs, you suck.
Yes, throwing empties at those guys.
Yeah,
You
right.
need to make time for that. So,
That's a great American pastime.
so that's important. And then the food choice, the brats, hot dogs, burgers are always common. One of my favorites that we did once was steak sandwiches.
Steak sandwiches.
It was not really a
sandwiches.
conventional like tailgating food, but it was good.
That's
Where's it?
I don't know what. Never. Don't mind him.
I don't know what
Don't
he's
mind
talking
him. Steak
about.
sandwiches sound really good. In all honesty, I don't want to get Grant to derail us here. So, steak sandwiches.
Well,
okay.
I'm interested now.
No, it's not important. I just started singing Frozen. It's okay.
What?
Not
Yeah,
sure.
we
Steak
say-
sandwiches are in Frozen.
No,
No.
we finish each other's sandwiches.
Oh.
That's what I was going to
Oh,
say.
that's really off topic.
And you say I reach a lot for my transitions. That
was a
was
transition.
that was
That
a
was a
ball.
stretch.
You were
That was a
like
bit of a
"Oh."
stretch.
Yeah.
You gotta admit.
I was
Anyway.
just singing it under my breath, and you guys are like, "What are you talking about? What are
Well,
you talking
I'm
about, there,
sorry, I
Grant?
wasn't-
Oh,
Well-
what you talking about?"
Man, get it.
It was interesting. Relax. man.
Anyway, what else you got
Calm
for us,
down.
Joel?
Well, just other little tricks, things to watch out for. Trick, you can use water bottles in your cooler, freeze them, use them as ice packs, and then you can drink them
Oh,
later,
yeah.
save
Yep.
cooler space.
My mom does that a lot when we go to the beach.
Yeah, and then a couple of beer ones for you guys.
Ooh.
Okay,
Please.
can we reverse that? I
What?
need to make a comment.
Oh, God.
When we go to the beach, use it all the time.
Yeah.
This guy, we need to get him tailgating. Like,
This
just
is true.
What
how
is
long have
wrong
you been?
with-
How long have you lived in Wisconsin your entire
Like
life?
grand total out of my 23 years of existence.
Yes.
17.
We need to brainwash Florida out of you.
Man,
This is
it's
true.
it's
You can never
bad.
take the Florida
It gets
out of me.
It gets bad.
Nah,
we,
Brad,
We will
no.
stick you in shorts and a t-shirt in -20 winter,
This is Wisconsin.
-20
Welcome.
degree winter.
Sounds like
We'll put a
good
beer in
time.
your hand and say, "Go walk a mile."
Go walk the beer mile. Sounds like
It's like becoming a man, like part of Native American culture. It's part of
I have to go instead of killing a small animal. I have to drink a beer in
becoming
shorts.
Yes.
becoming a Wisconsinite.
That is part
Thank
of
you.
it.
I was a Wisconsinite before I was a Floridian. I'm a hybrid now, like a cool concept car.
Jeez.
As your life
It's
goes
as
on,
bad
it's
as-
going to
it's-
decrease, Matt. It's going to get really
it's
close
worse
to
than I
zero
thought.
soon.
It's worse than I thought.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, this
So-
is not about me, Grant. It's about tailgating tips. So freezing water bottles and then drinking them and using them as ice is a good idea. Like
Save your
like
cooler
Joel.
space.
Save cooler space
for more meat.
Yes.
And then what you can do to help with beer type related tailgating things is you can take a 12-pack, like pull the bottles out, put a garbage bag inside, put the bottles back in, and pour ice in it, and then you've got like a beer cooler built in.
Okay.
You can just
That's a
carry
good
that
idea.
around. Doesn't take any more space, and you can just
Yes.
Yes.
Now, speaking of beer,
of course.
which is a very important topic.
Oh yes.
When you tailgate or when you partake in watching sporting events with the family or at a bar or in a legal setting, what type of beer do you recommend before we let you go?
Well, it's hard to recommend anything, but
What's your go-to? Spotted Cow?
I love my Wisconsin.
Only sold in
Spotted
Wisconsin.
Cow. I know.
Only sold in Wisconsin.
You got to tailgate in Wisconsin if you're going to do it right.
Exactly. All right. Well, Joel Wolfrath, thank you so much for stopping by, sir. We appreciate you. Spotted Cow, the drink of choice. So if you ever want to send Joel a tailgating gift, send him a 6-pack of Spotted Cow.
That'll work.
All right. Thank you so much, Joel, for stopping by. We appreciate your insights on the tailgating world and that extensive study you did about people like to drink at sporting events.
Crazy.
Who would have thought? Mind-blowing. I can't even... We need to go to a commercial. That's how much I am just completely taken aback by this. But anyway, Joel Wolfrath, thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate you, and we hope to have you on again in the future. All right, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, the NFL has released a new post-NFL draft power rankings, and Grant and I are going to take a look at that and also talk about the 4 people up for the Madden cover. We will be right back. This is the Bax Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. This is the Bax Grant Sports Show. Welcome back. I'm back.
And this is Grant.
Anyway, Grant, sorry about that. Threw a little comment at you right before we came back.
I mean, you didn't tell me that we were coming back.
I thought I
This
said
guy.
coming back. I mentally I say it. I'm like, Grant, we're coming back. Grant.
Totally
Grant!
unprofessional.
I'm
I
like-
apologize for his unprofessionalism.
I'm so sorry. I'm not allowed. I have to do like 43 things at once during this show to make it sound as beautiful and pristine as it is, Grant. What do you
on.
want from me?
You should be able to channel all the energy you need to use during the day to do this.
The
'cause
force is not
we
strong
all
in
know
me
you
this early
don't
in the
use
morning.
it during school.
It's very
time,
true.
So.
It's no longer May the 4th, Grant, so I have the
And it's
force
not
has
even
left
Cinco
me.
de Mayo.
Hey, ole! Did you do anything fun for Cinco de Mayo?
I worked at Target.
I worked at Verizon. I had people that come in. I'm like, hey, are you doing anything fun? Like, yeah, margaritas, fajitas.
See,
I'm like, go stop. Just
As
stop.
a 20-year-old, I can't appreciate the drinking holidays.
Indeed, yes. I know. And everyone's like, it's a free day to drink. And Mexicans are like, no, it's when we became independent from France. But yeah, drinking too. Woo! I'm like, yeah. We did a mariachi band. We had the WLC marching band, mariachi band last night performing in the Student Union building.
They're
it was
great.
beautiful. They did a great job, honestly.
They're so good.
I
They're
was
so fun.
thoroughly impressed.
When they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna start a mariachi band," I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, they did a great job. They had little fake mustaches. But anyway, Grant, enough of that.
Getting to actual sports.
We
are 25 minutes
into the show. We're finally going to talk about real sports today. Anyway, the NFL, Grant. NFL.com has released their first preseason power rankings post-NFL draft. Now, pretty much all the rosters are going to have all the players that they're going to take into training camp and minicamp. So, with that being said, there is a new preseason power ranking list out. Before we get to the top 10, I'm going to take a quick little gander at the bottom of the list, just to kind of scoot through it. Not real surprised, in all honesty. The bottom 4 or 5 teams don't really move. At number 32, Grant, is the Tennessee Titans. No real surprise there, even with Marcus Mariota added in the draft. Nothing too great about that.
Right.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers stay at 31. Jaguars at 30. Raiders at 29. Browns, that would probably I would say would be the most surprising one at 28th after finishing 7-9. They are rated 28th on ESPN.com. Looking around, the Redskins at 27, the Bears at 26, Jets 25, Vikings at 24. I'm a little surprised by that. I think the Vikings are better than that ranking, personally.
Yeah, I do too.
In all honesty, Teddy Bridgewater makes them a much better team, and now that they've got Trey Waynes and a
it
better
all
defense.
depends too. It all hinges on how well Teddy Bridgewater does.
Yes.
Because let's say he doesn't have as good of a season as he did last year. Now, how good are the Vikings? In all honesty, and I think that's one of the biggest concerns for me. Looking at Connor Christensen, who comes on the show regularly.
Yes, our Vikings guy.
Him being a Vikings fan, my biggest concern for his team would be that since they are a young team, they do have a lot of potential, but they don't really have somebody that can step up, or they have huge weapons that can pick up the slack.
Well, they do have Adrian Peterson still. As of now, Adrian Peterson is still a Minnesota Viking, and as all signs at the moment are pointing that he will be on the roster come opening day. That's at least the thought as of right now. So if that does stay consistent, then yes, then I think the Vikings will be just fine. I do want to make a note going back to the Buccaneers. Did you know, Grant, that of the 13 draft picks the Buccaneers had this year, 12 of those were spent on offensive players?
I'm not surprised.
They made it an entirely new offense, basically.
Right.
You know, I mean, and I get it. You draft Jameis Winston number 1. You got to get better offensive linemen. You got to get some more running backs, some more wide receivers. You got to stock up and be like, all right, all of our chips are going into our offense. The Buccaneers' defense isn't horrendous, but it's not great by any means either. And the fact that they only used one player out of their draft selections to help with the defense, I don't think that was the smartest idea. I think they should have done at least 3 or 4 people for their defense because, your
defense isn't the best either.
No, it's not. And if you can, I mean, they went 2-14 for gosh sakes. Not all of that is the offense's lack of production.
Right.
There was a few games last year that the Buccaneers were close to winning at the end, but couldn't because their defense let big plays happen. Anyway, just saying that. Looking at the rest of the top 20, or the bottom 20, you have the Giants at number 23, the Falcons at 22, the Rams at 21, the 49ers. I always forget the Rams were 6-10.
Because they didn't play like that.
No,
they were a better team than 6-10. They took, I think it was the Patriots. Now it's the last season's getting a little fuzzy for me, but they had a couple of close games with big teams that they just couldn't finish out. The Rams could have easily been an at 500 team this year.
Easily, yeah. And I think last year. And a very interesting note from ESPN.com as well about the Rams. Only one starter from week 1 from the Rams offensive line from 2014 is still on the team. How do you solve that, Grant? You draft 4 offensive linemen in the draft.
Yeah, and they had a big problem with their offensive line. They had a big problem with their offense in general this last year with their quarterback situation. They basically picked up a guy who was coaching high school football and picked him up, and he played well for a little bit, but he wasn't like anything groundbreaking, like a big Cinderella story. And then their offensive line, they had a lot of issues. And I know, like, some of it was due to injury, but they did have a lot of issues on that offensive line. So I'm not surprised to see that a lot of them have left and that they're rebuilding in that area.
Yes, yep. I'm curious to know exactly just how good St. Louis is this year. They've got Todd Gurley now. Zach Stacy's on his way to the Jets. I want to really know how good this team actually is. Another team I really am curious to know about this year, though, is the San Francisco 49ers. They finished 8-8 last year. They are number 20 in the preseason power rankings. I do find it interesting that with all the issues that this team has, they spent a 5th-round draft pick on a punter.
I mean, you need a punter.
Yeah, you do need a punter. Maybe that's a testament to saying we're going to be real bad this year, and we got to have a punter. I'm just saying.
Maybe,
if you draft a punter, it's kind of like fantasy football. You don't draft a kicker until like the second or last round. You don't draft a punter in the 5th round.
Well, but I've seen it, and there was a team. Was it the Lions? I think this last year that struggled with finding a kicker or somebody that could kick the ball decently, and they lost games.
I volunteer. No, I wouldn't want to kick for the Lions.
They lost games, and they had to make decisions like if they were on the 31-yard line, and if they were kind of like in no man's land, they would kind of have to go for it.
Yes.
Even though like a normal, like if you had Mason Crosby, he could make that if you were on the 31-yard line and it was 4th and 2. It's like, yeah, okay, send to the kicker. But for the Lions, they had to go for it more times than not because they didn't have a decent kicker. So, yeah, but taking a kicker in the 5th round, I mean, don't you think you could use that for something else? Because I'm sure that punter was going to be staying around into the 7th round, especially since nobody else picked up a kicker.
He more than likely would have gone undrafted, and that's an easier way to do it. Because, I mean, now that you gave him 5th-round bargaining rights, saying, hey, you drafted me, I'm a 5th-round draft pick, I expect at least X amount of money.
Right.
Not to say that you shouldn't pay your kickers and punters well. You should, because they are very valuable. But the fact that he's a 5th-round punter now,
yeah. And the thing that boggles me is that nobody else took a punter or a kicker.
No.
So why would you take one 5th round?
Yes.
Like, even though you can't look into the future.
Because Jim Harbaugh's gone now, and San Francisco's like, we don't know what to do with ourselves, and going, oh, crap, he actually was a good coach. We shouldn't have fired him. Yeah. I really hope San Francisco goes 0-16 this year, because getting rid of Harbaugh was probably one of the stupidest things they've ever done.
Remember the last team that went 0-16, Baxter?
The Lions?
Yep. And you know who's the team that gave them their final loss of the season?
Packers?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that
Exciting
game.
Times.
Oh, it was so great.
The final nail in the coffin. An interesting thing, Grant, looking as we get into the top 20 now, at 19 is the New Orleans Saints. I did not realize this, and I was wondering where this guy went. Garrett Grayson has been drafted, a quarterback out of Colorado State, a very interesting prospect. People are saying now that since he was drafted in the 3rd round, that this might be the changing of the guard for the Saints in the next maybe 2 or 3 years. Drew Brees, not a lot of time left on him, unfortunately. He's had a fantastic Hall of Fame-worthy career.
But he's getting up there.
But he is. He's getting up there. This is the first time they've drafted a QB in the 3rd round. That's the highest they've ever selected a quarterback since 1971 when they drafted Archie Manning. And, well, that turned out pretty well for them, honestly. So the Saints are another team that I'm curious to know how they do this year, especially now with Jimmy Graham gone. Offensively, they don't have a ton of weapons left, so we'll see what happens with them.
And I like what the Saints did. Instead of waiting till they desperately needed a quarterback, they picked. Because I feel like a lot of teams are doing that, and it might be just bad organizations, but I feel like time and time again, like Buccaneers being an example this year, and they haven't had a franchise quarterback there in forever.
And they thought Josh Freeman was going to be the answer a few years ago, but then he didn't pan out very well and had a bad start, and then he got traded to the Vikings, and then that didn't go well, and then I don't even know where Josh Freeman is now, but even still, you need to make those changes, and I think especially when it comes to the Broncos, I don't think we've had this conversation 100 times. Broncos Willier is not the answer when Peyton Manning retires, either this year or the year after. So this might have been the year that they may have wanted to draft a quarterback.
Right.
His possible replacement, but maybe they didn't like enough of the prospects. Maybe we'll see that next year in the draft when they get a higher quarterback, depending on how the team finishes. Looking through the top 15 down to the top 10, the Bills are rated 18, Texans 17, which I think is a little high. Panthers 16, Dolphins 15, Chiefs 14, Chargers 13. Lions are 12. A little surprised by that. Eagles are 11. I think that's A little gracious.
We don't know where the Eagles are going to go, though.
I don't think we don't know where the Eagles or the Lions are going to go this year.
Yeah, it's because the Lions are always the team, at least in my mind, that you look and you say, okay, they're going to be a decent team. They look like they have a decent team put together, and then they don't show up to play.
Yes.
So you can never, you always say that they're going to be good, but then sometimes they don't pull through. This last season they did. And then the Eagles, they have just been having the wildest offseason in recent memory that I can remember. And if they did the trade that there has been rumored that they tried to get to pick up Marcus Mariota, like you've been saying this entire time,
we thought they were going to.
If that trade would have landed, it would have been absolutely crazy. I can't remember. And I don't remember if we talked about it on the show.
We did not. We talked about it after the show. I don't remember the exact people, but I know it was Fletcher Cox and another.
He used to play for the Packers.
I can't think of his name right now.
His name started with an H.
Yes, but it was 2 players.
3 players.
It was 3 players. That's right. It was 3 players, 2 first-round draft picks, and a second-round draft pick, all for Marcus Mariota.
Bradford was one of them.
And Sam Bradford was one of them. And then there was 2 defensive players, Sam Bradford, 2 first-round draft picks, and a second-round draft pick were all offered by the Eagles for that number 2 spot so they could draft Mariota. And the Titans said no. Which I think is
rumored.
Stupid.
It's rumored.
That was the
Nothing's
rumored
confirmed.
deal. Yes, there's no official paperwork saying, yes, this was the trade, da-da-da. That was the big rumor, though. And even still, if that was the rumor, I think the Titans are stupid for not doing that.
Right.
You don't have an opportunity to put 2 big players on your defense.
And you fix your quarterback
And you
problem.
fix your quarterback situation. And
If
you
he
get 3
stays
more
healthy.
draft picks.
Right.
To build your team even more. I mean,
But they wanted the one player.
no, one player, Marcus Mariota, their Hawaiian savior, as it were. He'll take them all the way to 3 wins next year. Anyway, rounding out the rest of the power rankings, you've got the Bengals at 10, Steelers at 9, Cardinals at 8, Ravens at 7, which I don't think is true. I don't think the Ravens are that good, personally. No. I would rather take the Steelers. I think the Steelers and Ravens should flip-flop. Cowboys at 6, Colts at 5, and then the top 4, Grant, is where it gets interesting. Denver Broncos at 4. I don't have a huge deal with that, honestly.
I think it's a little high. Well, I may be looking into the future, though.
Yeah, looking.
And it really depends how Manning plays, because he had a good first half of the year last year, but his second half, I mean, it wasn't awful.
No.
But for Peyton Manning standards, it wasn't.
It was
the
not
best.
good. No. It really wasn't. I think they would have taken him in college over how he played right now, in all honesty. The Packers are slotted at number 3, which it's hard to stand biased about this because look at the top 3: Packers, Patriots, Seahawks. Seattle does not deserve the number 1 spot because they're not the Super Bowl champions. The Super Bowl champions should always, they did not lose anybody significant. They should always be number 1 in the preseason power rankings, assuming they don't lose anybody significant, and they did not. Offense remains the same. Defense is still very much intact. Patriots deserve that number 1 spot, not Seattle.
And I just read this. An interesting stat for the Patriots. The average weight of the Patriots' first 7 picks was 276 pounds.
So that kind of gives you an idea of the type of boys that they were going after. They wanted some larger gentlemen along the team to kind of beef them up. And the Patriots are not traditionally a big team.
No.
They are crafty.
They
They're
had
speedy.
Wilfork.
Vince Wilfork is 3-something.
And he's still there, isn't he?
He is. I think they're keeping him for at least another year. I think he signed another 1-year
but
deal.
he's up there.
Yeah.
This is his last season, though.
I think so. And I wonder about Tom Brady as well. And I know he made the comment last year that said he'll stop playing when he sucks. I totally get that. Drew Brees said that too. But at the same time, Tom Brady, sir, you've been in the league an awful long time. You've got 4 Super Bowl
when
rings.
Was he drafted? Early 2000s?
Was it 99 or 2000? I thought it's when he was drafted. He's been in the league for at least 15 years.
Or something like that.
Was it? I could be wrong. I think you might be right on that one. I thought it was 99 personally. But either way, he's been in the league far too long. He has sustained a few injuries. He's got 4 Super Bowl rings. I think that he, maybe sooner rather than later, will be retiring. Let's see here. He was 99. Yep, Tom Brady drafted in 99 by the Patriots. So we need to keep moving, though, unfortunately, Grant. I wish we had more time to talk about it, but I don't think Seattle deserves number 1. If I had to redo the top 5, I would do New England, and then Seattle, and then Green Bay, and then Indianapolis, and then Denver. That's how I would do my top 5.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see like where teams are going to be
Yes.
this early too, but I would agree with that based off of last season, and maybe based off of a little bit of bias, I'd put the Packers over Seattle. But even though Seattle didn't win the game, Packers should have had that NFC Championship game. So, I mean, if you're a biased Packers fan, you might be saying that, but I don't
think we're going to get too much of that, in all honesty. Yeah. I think, what happened, happened. We need to be able to move on from that. Real quickly, before we get to your rant, Grant, the Madden cover for Madden 2016 is on its way. The 4 candidates this year are Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, Patrick Peterson, and Odell Beckham Jr. Do you have I know the whole blah, 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 Madden curse, whatever. No,
right.
It's whatever. You can make whatever you
want
of it.
We haven't heard that for a while, though.
We haven't, thankfully. But would you have a preference of those 4 who you'd like to see on the cover?
I personally would like to see Gronk on
I
there.
would too, yeah.
He's just got a great personality. Like, one second he's taking photos with women that have an interesting profession, and then the next he is he's getting photos with tiny cute kittens while not wearing a shirt. So I mean,
what's not to love?
and then you'll like see videos of him at a bar just doing some
twerking and having a good old
doing hilarious stuff. So
he's a man's man.
Yeah,
that's what he is. I think he should have his Madden cover photo should be him spiking a ball, but then having a kitten on his shoulder or something like that.
Like giving it a kiss or something like that.
Yeah, something like in that nature. But honestly, though, Madden cover, does it really matter? I don't know if it really does,
no,
honestly.
Not really.
We'll see. But anyway, Grant, it is time for the part of the show that is your rant. All right, Grant, 1 minute on the clock today for you, sir, for you to offer up your sports knowledge for us. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, on your mark, get set, go.
Well, I'm going to talk about hockey since we're not really talking about hockey.
Someone's got to talk about hockey.
Always. So Brandon Prust from the Montreal Canadiens apologized for his comments on Tuesday that he made towards referee Brad Watson. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly what it was quoted because then we would not be on the air anymore.
It's a family show, Grant.
It is a family show, but let's just say there was a lot of cursing on the referee's part.
Talked about how much he loved fruit.
Okay. You'll have to explain that one to me later. But I think he left the game with like 31 penalty minutes because I believe he got ejected. Or it was not a good game for him. And they lost 6-2. He was not happy. He did come out and say he apologized. But I was reading an article saying that now referees have a big target on his back because he came out and challenged the referee. And he already has had throughout the league, like kind of like a target on his back. So this does not help him. This does not help the Canadiens in the future of the playoffs.
Yeah, the Canadiens need all the help they can get, especially with who they have to go through. They have Tampa Bay Lightning. They're down 2-1 in that series, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to need some help in that one. Yeah, I think because they just won recently. I'm pretty sure. It's either they're down at least 2-0 because Tampa Bay's been.
They have a game. I don't remember.
Pretty sure it's 2-1 anyway. All right, well we're going to take a quick break and we come back. Intern Laura will be in the studio to offer her Thingy-ma-bopper, and we'll wrap up the show with What If Wednesday. This is the Bax Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Grant, we need to make a quick correction off of something we said before we went to break. What was that?
The Lightning lead the series 2-0.
Lightning lead the series 2-0.
Game 3 is
Lightning.
tonight.
Game 3 tonight, 7 Eastern. Keep an eye on that. Do you have a favorite in that series, Grant?
The Lightning.
Tampa Bay Lightning over the
yes.
Montreal Canadiens.
Yes.
So we'll see what that happens in that series. It's been a fun series to watch. Same with the Capitals, and the Rangers play tonight as well. So anyway,
That's been a great series.
it has. It really has. So, Grant, it is Wednesday, which means we get to welcome in one of our favorite people to the show. It means Intern Laura is here. That music brings music to my ears. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, Intern Laura is here like she normally is on Wednesdays and Fridays. We're very excited to have you here, Laura. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm very happy to be here. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. We missed you on Friday.
Yeah, I missed you guys
out on
too.
assignment, but
I
we
was.
we appreciated you keeping in contact with us, and now you are here, back and ready to roll again for your Thingy-ma-bopper
Happy to
on
be
this
here.
Wednesday. Happy to be here. It's Hump Day, Laura. Get excited.
I am excited.
Woo! We're all thrilled. We're all a little tired. It's the end of the semester.
It's the week before exams.
It is. It is. One more week, and we shall be victorious.
Counting down the days. It's
Yes.
going to be a good summer.
Yes, we're looking forward to it. It'll be a long, hot summer, as it were.
Summer.
Okay. High School Musical reference.
Oh,
High School Musical 2. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
I haven't seen them. I wouldn't know.
Oh, they're the best.
They're fun. You need to.
Okay. Anyway, Grant.
Okay.
While we're tailgating, I'll show
While
you.
we're tailgating, we'll watch High School Musical while we tailgate.
Yes.
I think we'll get kicked out.
Kicked
Anyway,
out of the
Laura, what do
parking
you
lot?
got for us today?
Okay, well, this morning, actually, you guys already hit on it earlier, and I was a little upset. In the spirit of alcohol.
Woo! Alcohol!
You guys already mentioned it. I was going to talk about the beer mile.
We didn't really talk about it.
Okay, well,
I
you
didn't
hit on
even
it.
think that was a thing.
It is a real thing.
I joked about
I
it.
It's a
made
real
that
thing.
up. I made it up.
Okay, well,
You didn't trademark it, Grant. Someone else
apparently not.
took it and is making millions now.
Okay, well, the beer mile, as it's pretty obvious by its name, is a mile that you run and you chug a beer first, run a lap, 400, chug another beer, run a lap, and you do that 4 times. And I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty easy, no big deal.
No.
Oh,
Not
But the-
easy.
my stomach hurts already.
Well, the thing is like I guess there's like a science to it too. It's just like there's so much carbonation in there that you gotta get the beer warm, and you gotta make sure that all the gas comes to the top, and
That's
like
what I've heard, yeah.
Yeah,
It has
so
to be
that-
warm beer.
Well, if it's anything like the Milk Mile,
oh,
it's,
that's gross.
it would be
That's
disgusting.
just-
Which I just
icky.
heard that our friend Danny Hoffenstein did over the weekend. He did the milk mile.
Really?
How much milk do you drink?
Oh,
I
I don't
think
know.
it's like what I think it's a quart.
Something like
I-
that.
it-
Total,
it's-
it's
you
nasty.
totally. I think you drink a gallon in a
Yeah.
Oh
quart.
my goodness, that
I
would make me
think.
sick. That
I
would
can't.
be. I don't drink
I can't
milk.
even with that, Grant. Anyway, the
Ugh.
beer mile though sounds semi-enjoyable,
Yeah, it's-
but at the same time,
Well, the world record for it was just set actually almost exactly 2 years.
I think I heard about this. Yes,
April 27th, so I'm a little bit late on that.
it's all good.
But April 7th, 2013, and by a man whose last name is Nielsen, and he is from
Liam?
California. No, James.
James,
But close. But that's funny. Good reference.
Thank you.
He said it 4:57, and there's actually a lot of people who do this. There's 4:57.
Wow.
James the Beast Nielsen holds the
Yes,
current record.
James the Beast.
And then following close behind him at 5 minutes exactly is Corey Gallagher, I think.
Yep.
He's
Oh,
from Canada.
Yeah, that's why.
And
Where
then
are the Germans?
I don't
This
know.
is
Sorry.
shocking, actually. Where are they?
And the number one beer used is Budweiser, and then Pabst. Okay.
Not
Keep
a
your
Budweiser
beer
fan.
bias
Not
to
a
yourself.
Budweiser fan.
And then there's actually females who do it too. 6:17 is the female record. This is a big deal.
4 out of the top 5 are Americans. Yeah.
and I like how they have the most popular beers along with all
They
the
do.
stat.
Well, James Nielsen, actually, you can watch his video of him actually doing it, and it's, oh my goodness, I feel so bad for the guy because he's like feeling sick throughout the whole time, and at the end it shows his kids. It's so cute, but a lot of people say, this isn't legit. His wife was videotaping it. There were no other witnesses around. She timed it with her iPhone, but yet he still holds the technical current world
Hey,
record.
beermile.com has not corrected him, so
And this is true. Gotta trust beermile.com.
hey.
It's official.
It's credible. I'm going to cite them in my next paper. If according to beermile.com, my professor will be like, get out. You know?
Yep. I'm sorry. Well, this James Nielsen was like in his 30s, and like he hasn't run since college. He was an All-American at NCAA.
Wow,
So
okay.
was his wife. She was an All-American as well. So like they running in her history, but even people like Lance Armstrong had done this, and Lance Armstrong chugged the first beer, ran the first lap, and quit.
Yeah, he's like, if I can't bike it and use steroids at the same time, it's not going to be as exciting.
Called out.
Too soon?
That was a good
No?
one.
Oh, well.
So he did it, and he
Okay.
just opted out because it was that difficult after one beer.
I'm having a hard time comprehending, I have a hard time running as it is. That's why I play soccer. Wait. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, running though, like with beer, I have a hard time if I drink too much water or Gatorade, like right before a game. Like,
you
I have
cramp
a hard
up
time.
and you get sick. And
I feel like drinking a beer, I would just be like on the ground after half a lap and be like, I'm done. I can't do it.
Back to my glory days, track days in high school. I couldn't eat all day. I couldn't drink all day because I was just like, I don't want to get sick.
I thought you were gonna say you were transitioning from drinking beer in your glory days in high school.
Oh no, I
That
don't
was my
drink.
first thought. I'm like,
I'm
where are we
underage.
about
I don't
to go?
drink. So everyone knows. I won't
Laura
be
has-
attempting this
Laura
beer
has
mile for a
many
few
more
years.
year before she can try.
Okay, I'm not 12.
She's 14. No,
I'm
no.
19. Thank
Close
you.
enough. No. 2 more years, and then for your 21st, you should do the beer mile.
Okay, I will.
I'll
start
get
training
the
You're
now.
supposed to enjoy your 21st
We'll get the gang
birthday?
back together. The 3 of us will do the beer mile, and
Can we each just do a lap and you guys can do the
we'll
drinking
run
and
the
I'll just
relay, a
watch?
beer mile relay.
That would be so cute.
Yeah, we'll do your drinking for you.
Yes.
Okay,
That
well,
would
I
be
don't
good.
want to, so you guys
Perfect.
more than welcome.
That's so interesting, though.
It
The beer
is.
mile. How
Fun.
long has this been going on? You said
A long time.
a long time. Since the Germans. Hitler was the first to run the beer mile back in Germany. No,
Actually, I don't think it was that long. It was probably
I might be a
not,
little
but-
far. You know, that would have been. Think about
Hitler
this.
doing the beer mile.
Think about this for a second. The
I
world,
don't know if I want to.
the world leaders during
Grant's
World War
out.
Grant is sitting down. This is how World War II should have been settled. Running the beer mile should have had Hitler, Stalin, and whoever was the president at the time for the U.S. I can't even think who that was. That should have been.
I think his name begins with an R.
Was it Reagan?
No.
No, I don't even know. Nixon. I don't remember. History's almost over. Grant is leaving the studio.
No,
That's
I
how.
don't- yeah.
Is it? This is why we can't have this. Is I'm just saying. What if instead of killing millions of people, Grant, we had the beer mile? What if that settled everything? I think that I'm a firm believer that that's how
Roosevelt.
So close.
Nixon. Reagan.
Nixon, Bush. It
I
was
knew it was
obviously
an R.
Bush.
I knew it
Hillary
was an
Clinton.
R.
Wait, maybe next year.
Okay, you people are disgusting
I'm just
with
saying.
your U.S. history.
What if
I was in the
though?
hallway when you got.
That
yeah,
would-
just
that would-
record. I left the room.
really
when this,
did. He was
when that
literally
whole
in the hallway.
conversation started.
Did you know that it was Roosevelt?
Yes,
I don't
Well,
think
why didn't you say
did.
something?
because it was in the hallway. 'cause
You coulda
guys are
yelled it.
disgusting.
You could have yelled it.
No, you have to figure that out on your own.
Oh
Like,
my
he's, wow.
Yeah, he's
calm
prime
down.
today. Easy does it, big man.
It's okay.
But
Turning
anyway,
green.
People in the
I
US
think that's how
history.
conflict should have been resolved back in the day,
Okay.
and maybe still should.
Maybe still should. Yeah. Just get rid of all conflict.
Barack
need to
Obama,
sit in on
Barack
your
Obama,
history class.
Barack Obama, and the leader of ISIS should run the beer mile, and the winner. Oh my goodness. You know, maybe that's a bit far.
I still need to talk to your history professor.
Dr. Beck will be like, oh,
Well,
we
to
should've-
be fair, your history class starts after
That's
World
true.
War II.
That's true. 1945.
fair.
So we learned a little bit about it. Anyway, before we get more so off topic, the beer mile, an interesting time. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. So who is it? What's Nielsen?
Yeah,
James.
James.
James Nielsen is the world record
It's kind
holder.
of a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal. Do we have? I don't know if you have this information. Like how big of a guy he is. Like is he?
He doesn't look too huge. Like I've seen videos of him running around. Like he's
Oh, he
not. He looks pretty tall, but probably like
34.
6'1", 6'2", and then
Maybe-
slender guy but muscular.
Maybe 170. I'm just curious, like what his body build was.
I couldn't tell you. I'm not
to
sure
it,
that
but-
they give out that kind of information.
Because I'm sure there's a scientific fact about that too. Between if Grant and I were to have a drink,
yeah, good
because like
point.
I'm tall and skinny. Grant is a little shorter than me and a little bit bigger.
little
Like
bit
we
of
would
a
probably
lightweight.
retain alcohol a little bit differently depending on how for running.
I'd be
like
out
that.
after the first.
Yeah, Laura'd be like, woo! We'd be like, no, Laura, keep running. Running in circles. Wow.
Oh no.
Anyway, well,
Well, I mean, you're running on a track, so you're
It's
running
like
in
the
circles.
wine-
well, I'm saying like not like in circles. Like she's like running in place in circles.
I do like a wine cooler challenge instead.
The wine cooler challenge, or the Angry Orchard challenge, or the something. Maybe cider. I would do the cider challenge.
The
That'd be
water
cute.
challenge.
Yeah, I'm
Anybody? Can
all
we
for
just be
the juice box.
responsible? Yeah.
Shots of water. Let's go. Anyway, well, it is Wednesday, which means it's What If Wednesday. So I will lead off with What If, staying with the theme of alcohol because
It's been that
it's
kind of show
been that
today.
kind of show. Anyway, what if?
This should have been our Friday show,
Should
honestly.
have. I know. We should have had Zach Poppenfuss and everybody in here to talk about it. Anyway, my what if for both of you is what if drinking at sporting events was outlawed? I know. Shocking. What if?
Have you ever remembered? Do you remember the event that Disco is Dead at? was in this. It was at a baseball. It was at a baseball game, and there was like people like burning records. Like they stormed the field like in the middle of the game. It was absolutely crazy. There was rumored that people were hugging each other aggressively on the third base sideline, on the third base line.
Well phrased.
There would be a lot of that going on during sporting events.
That went over my head.
We'll tell you later.
We'll tell you when you're older, Laura. Just think about it.
But yeah, there would be a lot of protesting. People would be like throwing cans of beer at people and like, we want to drink and stuff like that.
Wow.
And you'd get a lot of people. I think
the
before
drop,
they came into
there would be a massive drop.
and people would like get drunk before they would come into the game, so it would get really dangerous.
What if they got breathalyzed too? Like you have to be under the legal drinking.
Yikes!
I'm just saying, in that in the world that we live in, what's the worst? Who's to say?
Right.
You know. Anyway, all right. That's my what if, Laura.
Okay. Well.
Laura's like, I don't know if I want to live anymore. This
Yeah.
sounds like an awful world.
I mean, like, I'm not 21. I don't drink, but like, I feel like I'm looking forward to drinking at sporting events
Indeed.
someday.
It's
so,
a fun
like,
time.
It's kind of sad. That better not happen.
Yeah, don't do it. 2 more years.
2 more years.
Please wait for me.
Okay, well, my what if, okay, it's kind of all over the park because I didn't actually phrase it in my head yet, but I have it.
It happens.
Okay, so when I was looking at all this stuff, it just seems like people are getting more athletic. Like, I mean, like, people are like, there's a guy who did an under 4-minute mile, and I'm like, oh my goodness,
It's
that's
becoming
nuts.
a thing, yeah.
Like, I think that's crazy. So what if people keep getting more and more athletic? Like, what?
What happens?
Yeah,
Run a mile
what
like
happens?
ride a mile.
That is my
I think
fantastic what if
I
for
think
you.
from a sports perspective, I think that sports as a whole will continue to get better and faster and more exciting to watch.
Yeah, but then fewer and fewer people could maybe.
Yeah, would
compete
people
because
actually
how
do?
could
The
people?
demographic will continue. The sample size of people that can actually play the sport professionally will continue to drop.
Right, and then because you have to put so much time into sports already today, and then you would see a lot less multiple sport athletes. You'd see a lot less kids
You don't
getting
have time, yeah.
involved. You would have to be like, okay, we're starting you at the day you're born. We are putting you in football pads and sending you out into the field, and then maybe like lesser known sports. Like the smaller sports like hockey or soccer, even though those sports are growing.
International.
If you had stuff like football just getting so competitive and more people would want to play football, you may see a decline in those smaller sports.
Or you would see a bigger one because not everybody that would make it would probably have to go to a different sport. Because
but then you need to start earlier in hockey too. Like if
Yes.
it just as a whole in sports, if things got better and you need to choose one sport at like the age of 4.
Yeah,
to
and
start in.
I think this would be a good topic for us to talk about maybe on Friday about whether it is a better idea to be a 1-sport athlete or a 2 or 3-sport athlete. Because even for someone for me, and we'll talk about this another time too. Just I played 2 sports in high school, played football and soccer, and it was hard for me to devote my time to both of them to be successful at both. I was a kicker for football, but I did also play on the field as well. So by playing soccer, it did help me in that regards, but. It's interesting. If I would have just dedicated, or any athletes would have dedicated just to one sport, I'd be curious to pull, multi-sport athletes to just single-sport athletes. All right, Grant.
Interesting.
Did you? Yeah. What is your what if, sir?
My what if is going to baseball. We had this discussion on Monday, and
Laura likes baseball.
I love baseball.
what if Ron Renicky stayed on for the Brewers
Instead of
the
being
rest
fired?
of the
He got
season?
fired, right?
Yes,
He did.
on
He got fired
Sunday
night. He got fired. If Ron Renicky had stayed around, see, it's hard to know because a lot of people debated whether or not it was his fault, or it was the player's fault, or it was the general
That's kind of
manager's
like what
fault.
I'm getting at for this question. Like, do you think it was more of the if it was more of the manager, or if it was more the players?
I think it was more the players, personally.
Okay, so you'd think they'd have. Do you think that the team then with Renicky still finishes 500 or above?
Yes. Not by much, though.
Without Renicky, do you think they're going to do that?
Yes.
Okay, Laura, what do you think?
I agree.
I think Craig Counsell is a good
Let's do it.
injection.
Yeah, they did get their first win with him. The first game.
They did. His first game ever, they came back and won 4-3, and then they ended up losing. I think it was 6-2 last night against the Dodgers, 8-2, something like that. Either way, though, I think the injection of a new coach at this point in the season, I think, will be a good thing for the club as a whole. So yeah, The more you know, Grant.
Do you not think so? You have this peculiar look on your face.
It's a hard question though.
Yeah.
It's you don't know.
It's hard to tell.
With
like,
baseball, it's so hard to judge, especially
Yeah.
if you lose a manager early in the season. Like with football, if you fire a coach after 7 or 8 games, that's half your season.
Yeah.
But with a game like baseball, is players go into slumps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Then players get hot, and it's a lot with just it's a big mental game.
Yeah.
And then with the injuries that Ron
Ryan Braun?
Ron Reineke
Ron
had
Reineke.
to deal with Gomez being out, Braun having issues over the last couple of
Gene
years.
Segura, all of that. Yeah.
Right, and not having always the best pitching staff. I mean, it's a lot to deal with as a manager, and it's not necessarily 100% his fault.
That's it, exactly. Very true. Well, you never really know with sports. It's kind of like you never really know with our show what you're going to get.
Happy National Beverage Day, by the way.
Yes, I was going to say,
Speaking-
Laura had a few things. It's National Nurses Day, so happy National Nurses Day.
It's National Crepe Suzette Day, whatever that may be.
Happy National School Nurse Day and happy
Thank you,
National
nurses.
Bike to School Day.
That changes annually. By
It
the way.
does change.
It does.
Anyway. Either way,
For
this
the
has been
record.
another exciting edition of the Bax Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Intern Laura, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter at Intern Laura BGSS.
Yes, Intern Laura BGSS. A special thanks to Joel Wolfrath who stopped by as well. Grant Coppersmith, always a pleasure, sir. I will see you again on Friday. We'll see you again on Friday as well, Intern Laura.
I'll be here.
Remember to check us out on social media at the Bax Grant Sports Show. Email us at BG Sports Show. And remember, you can listen to us live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. Central on Spreaker.com and from 12 to 3 Eastern on SportsRadioAmerica.com. For Grant Coppersmith and Intern Laura, I am Baxter Colburn. Take care, be good, be safe, and go Packers!
Woo!